What's going on YouTube? It's Private KJ Shot Cars Podcast back here with another NBA daily video. Today we're going to be discussing Nikola Vucevic and the breaking news trade that just happened. Now, I'm going to be rapid firing a bunch of trades today, so I'll actually be dropping hella videos today. As many of the important trades, even the non-important trades, I'll probably be dropping as well. Maybe save some of those trade videos for tomorrow as well, so I can kind of even it out, so I have some videos for tomorrow as well. But yeah, basically, we're going to be going rapid fire because today is the last day for trade deadline, last 12 hours, and we're going to get on the breaking news, okay? So stay tuned for that. The first trade we're going to be discussing is Nikola Vucevic. I'll probably talk about the JaVale McGee one and DeLon Wright one at some point, but for the time being, the Vucevic is the big one, and I want to bust that one out right now. So if you enjoy this type of video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you never miss a beat. If this is your first time being on the channel, hi, my name's Kyler, Private KJ. We upload daily NBA videos twice a day. Once during the day, talking about any trades, breaking news, players, or teams that I just want to discuss. And during the night, we recap all of the games that happened during the night. So without further ado, let's just kick right into the video. So the trade that happened basically was Nikola Vucevic, Al-Farouq Aminu for Otto Porter, Wendell Carter Jr., and 2 first-round picks. Now, it also said in the news that they seem to be trying to rebuild around Aaron Gordon. I'm not sure how true that is to be. I still believe that Aaron Gordon will be traded at some point, but it just seems like at this point, the Magic finally have some common sense and to go into tank mode, and I'm going to discuss them first. So they get Wendell Carter Jr., their center for the future. And we all know Mo Bamba just hasn't been working out very much, and I think that's the right direction to go, to be completely honest. Now, I'm not saying Mo Bamba can't be something in the future, but what I am saying at this point in time, he just isn't what they expected. And now there's nothing wrong with that, but I think his ceiling at this point is maybe a player to use off the bench, a backup center. And so we'll see as the years come on how good he can really be and reach that potential. But for the time being, they do get their center for the future. I do think Wendell Carter has some potential. But for Chicago, the main reason why he wasn't working out is because I strongly believe that Billy Donovan's drop coverage wasn't fitting what Wendell Carter did, and specifically because he is more of a smaller center, where I think his defensive switchability and perimeter defensive capabilities weren't put to the best use. I do think that Wendell cannot guard like point guards or anything, but I think he can guard forwards a little bit better than your average center. And I think if they were able to use that properly, I think it would have suited him at the best. But they didn't, obviously. And I'm not saying that Wendell it's all Wendell, not all Wendell's fault, but there were times where I thought he could have been used in a better manner. But Wendell also wasn't as impressive for himself. Defensively, he wasn't very good this year. And the overall Chicago Bulls aren't a good defensive team. But they also get Otto Porter's contract to match the salaries. And I just think overall, since the Magic are headed in a tank situation, getting Otto Porter's contract really isn't that big of a deal. They will be pursuing other players, though, with the Aaron Gordon and Evan Fournier type trade, so stay tuned for that. But Otto Porter, a 3-and-D player who, when healthy, can be a really good shooter. I think for fantasy purposes, if you have Otto Porter, this really helps him just because he should be at least a top 2 to 3 shot taker at the bare minimum, assuming he stays healthy. So I think for Otto Porter people, this at least benefits him, even though the Magic aren't going to be very good. So his ceiling for fantasy really isn't going to be that talented. But, shots to go around, nothing you can really complain about that. So they also get 2 first-round picks. Now, I am not aware of the years in the first-round picks. So if you go ahead and leave down in the comment section and let me know what year these first-round picks are, and we can kind of have a little discussion in the comment section on whether they're that good or not. But that kind of does it for the Orlando side. As we can all tell, once again, they are trying to rebuild, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it was about time that they need to rebuild. It's been way too long that they've been trying to fight for an 8 seed. Time to head past the Nikola Vucevic era and move on, and I think this was the right decision. Next up, though, we have the Bulls, and oh boy, they got Nikola Vucevic, Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic combo. I think that can be really good because, although Nikola Vucevic isn't the best defensive center, I think we can all understand that at this point, he brings other aspects to that team that Wendell Carter could never, and I'm not even sure could ever reach. I don't want to say Nikola Vucevic it's playmaking like he's like Nikola Jokic or anything, but what I will say is there were plenty of times where there would be a lot of sets ran through Nikola Vucevic that Clifford would run from him, take Vucevic at the top of the key, take him at the free throw line. I think they can do something and have cutters cut from backdoor, like just simple stuff like that could get Zach LaVine more involved. And I think this will actually boost his scoring. Now, I understand that's less shots to go around, so maybe that's not necessarily true. But I do think the efficiency of a player such as Kobe White will greatly benefit from Vucevic. I think fantasy-wise, if you had to take one player that hurts the most from this, it's Lauri Markkanen, just because I think at this point now, I think he's going to be used more as a specific stretch forward. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but I'm not sure of what his potential is at this point for Bulls fans. I thought he had really good potential in his rookie year, and ever since then, I haven't really liked him since. But that's okay because Vucevic provides so many different aspects on the offense side of the ball that Lauri Markkanen still has yet to learn. Vucevic can space the floor. He can pick and roll. He's a great finisher, great mid-range finisher. 3 levels of scoring, he can do all 3 of them. While posting up, he can pass out of the post. He can pass out of the high post. He can throw dots from backdoor cutters or backdoor hashers. You name it on the offensive side, he can do it all. I understand, like I said, his playmaking is not Nikola Jokic level, but it is another ball handler that you can have out on the floor that you can give the ball to, and he can do something with it. And that's very important, no matter if they still need the defensive aspect. And with that said, defensive aspect, they get another 3-and-D player, which is what they desperately needed. A 3-and-D forward that can at least help them stop a player like Giannis in the playoffs, and I don't expect them to stop him whatsoever, but another body, an extra 3-and-D body, that is very beneficial. Now, I'm not really sure how much of his offensive game is still there. I mean, we'll see with Alfred. I mean, if he can hit shots, then it's a great trade for them. For at least to acquire him. But if not, then he's just like he's just in there. I do believe that it was for salary purposes. Now, I do think it was still a good pickup regardless because the potential for Alfred Camino is still there. The defensive capabilities and switch abilities that he offers, he reminds me of a little bit of a Thaddeus Young on the defensive end. And I'm actually curious to see if they run some Thaddeus Young, more Thaddeus Young at the 5, Alfred at the 4, something like that. Maybe some Lauri at the 4 and Alfred at the 3. I think that provides a lot of defensive switchability. With that said, though, their Kobe White, Zach LaVine guard duo is still not a great defensive lineup. But ever since Thomas Satoransky has started, I like that. So I do expect Kobe White to still come off the bench, assuming that if they were to not acquire Lonzo Ball, I do think that they should stick with Kobe White on the bench and have Thomas Satoransky be that player so that it's more of a scoring punch for Zach LaVine, and then have Kobe White kind of knock down those shots when he comes off the bench. With that said, though, overall, if I had to give this trade a grade for both teams, I would probably say the Bulls walk away with this with an A trade. I don't think they're in tank mode anymore. They need to understand that and look to contend for championships. And I think this is in a set direction. I don't see them as a championship contender, but I 100% believe that they will easily make the playoffs now with Nikola Vucevic. That 100% moves the needle in the East. With the Magic's trade, I would give them I would give them like a B+. No, I'm sorry, A-. I will give them an A-. For the Magic standpoint, though, I would give them a B+. They finally move away from the Nikola Vucevic era and begin to rebuild. I'm curious to see if there were any better offers that they could have received. I might be wrong, but knowing how good Nikola Vucevic is, and I understand that clearly his impact hasn't shown on the Magic as a number 1 option, but I kind of find it hard to believe that they at least couldn't have some sort of a little bit of extra draft compensation. Maybe at least 3 first-round picks I could have expected. Maybe it's because they had to match the salaries in order to make it work, so maybe I could understand that. But I'm just curious to see on what other offers they could have had instead of the one that they accepted for Chicago. And I'm not saying that Wendell's bad of an offer, but that's just kind of my thing. So with that said, though, that will conclude today's Nikola Vucevic trade. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, turn on post notifications, and stay tuned for the rest of the day because we're going to be firing away at plenty of trades. With that said, Private KJ out.